Hello everybody and welcome to another Power Rangers review. In today's video I'm taking a look at the latest offering from Hasbro as part of their Power Rangers line. This is the Power Rangers ZEO MEGAZORD. It's a highly poseable, articulated version of the MEGAZORD, unfortunately non-transforming. Take a quick look around the box. We've got ZEO MEGAZORD on the front there in a very kind of stoic pose, highly poseable. We've got the different helmets on the side, and on the back of the box we've got a very brief bio and again another picture of our MEGAZORD. And here we have him out of his plastic prison, and first impressions, he's a good solid piece. He's much bigger than I thought he was going to be. Not without his flaws. I would have liked space to store all of his helmets, just as he's standing there at the moment. You can kind of chop and change them, and the weakest point of the entire figure is probably the wings. They feel the most kind of rushed and the cheapest piece, and let's not forget that he didn't always have his wings out. It would have been nice to have a kind of customizable version where the wings were just one small piece on his back, but I've been messing around with this guy and he is very poseable and he is a fun figure. Entry level pricing, not really, at around £50. This is kind of the lower grade of a collector as opposed to youngsters trying to kind of play around, although it is a very fun piece. It's a very robust piece as well, and I actually have no quarrels whatsoever of letting my kids mess about with this, probably more so than some of the Megazords that I've got downstairs. I'd rather them mess with this than with those. As you can see, just at the back of the heels there's some paint missing on those wheels. I would have liked those to have painted up black as well, but I suppose being on the inside of the leg, it's not a necessity. And I don't have the original ZEO MEGAZORD to compare it to, but I don't think that they were painted up on both sides on the original, but please correct me if I'm wrong. Now, ZEO was one of my favourite seasons. I was born in '84. So I was brought up with Power Rangers. I started watching in Mighty Morphin in '93, even had the cassette tape of the soundtrack. So I followed it all the way through to about SPD, kind of religiously, and then I kind of got back into it a few years ago, and it was only a few months ago that I really started collecting the Power Ranger and Sentai figures again. But this was his kind of standard look, and it's a good piece. Like I said, there's a few differences I would have made. I don't know, maybe some more kind of gold in that gold paint. It's quite a dull gold, but it's nice having a figure this size and a fully poseable figure as well. It's a good action figure. You know, I'm okay with this. I like the fact that we've got more articulation, even though it doesn't actually pull apart and combine. It's still got that so accurate kind of big oversized suit look to it, and it does look like a human being covered in a huge Sentai mech suit. I always loved that kind of ancient Egyptian look of ZEO. At the moment I've got the ZEO Zord 5 helmet on there, piloted by Tommy. Now of course Tommy would go on to operate the Battle Zord as well, but the wings can just detach. We can just pop those off, just pegged in by 4 tabs, so you can have that kind of slimline back if you prefer. You see what I mean? This is definitely the cheapest piece. It's still got lovely detailing on there, but it's just a very kind of flimsy plastic. I would have liked it to have just had the wings kind of dropped down, or just had a secondary piece like this, so we had the option of changing it out. But let's just plug that back in. Let's take a look at these helmets. We can just pop off the red, and it's exactly what we would expect. Nice detailing on there, nice open size there, so it just slots in lovely over the stock head. In fact, the stock head itself is really nice. It's a really good sculpt on there. I will include a gallery at the end of the video as well. I believe this was from 4, wasn't it? ZEO Zord 4. We've got the back of the ball there, and that just again just slots over the head, and they don't really hinder the head at all. I mean, there's not a great range on the head anyway. It's probably the most hindered of all the articulation, but still looks pretty darn show accurate. 3. Here's kind of the Pharaoh cap there. Really going with that kind of Sphinx look and feel. 2 is definitely a lot more kind of robotic. These are all pretty decent. These do all look like, well, humans wearing masks, don't they? So you can have those up if you wanted to, or down. Entirely up to the user. These are all made of kind of a rubbery plastic as well, so there's not really any fear of any breakage. And of course we also have one pink as well, the Dalek style helmet. These do twist a little bit. There's a little bit too much flex on them on that helmeted piece, just so it does kind of move regardless of whether you move the head or not. But these do look excellent. But going back to what I know and love, here he is with 5 on there. Now, covering the articulation, the head does look left and right. We do have a little bit of downwards motion as well. I think there's a ball socket in there, but it is hindered slightly. The arms are on ratchets, up and down. We can come out to the side. Love the fact that these are independently hinged as well, so they're not going to get in the way at all. We get an upper bicep rotation. We get not 1, but 2 bends on that elbow, a little bit loose on the lower elbow. There's some rotation on that wrist. I think that's ball mounted, because it seems to be a little bit of pivot on those wrists as well, which in my opinion is a good thing. You know, I always love a good pivot on the wrist. Important to me, not always important to some, but we get a butterfly joint as well. It is somewhat hindered by the armor section, but a butterfly joint means that we can bring those arms around and wield the sword with 2 hands. That is a must. We get an upper torso rotation in there. It's designed for kind of the abdominal crunch section, but there is a rotation on there nonetheless. We get hips this far forwards, this far backwards. Hip skirts are in a fixed position. There is an upper thigh rotation, and coming down to the knee, nice deep bend on that knee, very kind of ratcheted. And coming down to the feet, there's an up and down on those feet, as well as a pivot side to side. They're not perfect, but they do work. It's something, I think, as their first attempt, their first Megazord done like this, is something they can definitely work on. But he's still a remarkably poseable piece. There's something just incredibly stoic, I think, about him wielding that sword with 2 hands. He's very humanoid, and I love it. I have to excuse the long shot here. Pyramidas is a big boy, and I try to get everything in shot. Those are the original ZEO Rangers from the original toy line. Obviously, we have Yorick the Conqueror there as well, to give you an idea of how these all scale together. Really nice match. Like I said, if the gold was a little bit better on the ZEO Megazord, then maybe it'd match Pyramidas slightly better. Obviously, I cannot break him down to go inside Pyramidas. I do have Warrior Wheel downstairs as well, but obviously that's more Super ZEO as opposed to ZEO itself. But these do look amazing together, and I'm over the moon with this piece. I'm genuinely very impressed. And a last quick scale comparison as well with the Legacy version of White Tigerzord, to give you an idea. I mean, this, although it's not their Lightning collection, it's a good start, and it's definitely a good piece for display. It's going to go nicely in with the rest of my ZEO figures, and I honestly cannot wait to see what they do. I really have got my fingers crossed that they're going to deliver something along the same sort of lines as the Legacy did with their Lightning Megazords. I know they've already released a Mighty Morphin Megazord, not done in the Lightning line. It's more of an entry level. I will be picking that up as soon as we get it here in the UK. I want to get that for my youngest, so he has his own Mighty Morphin Megazord. But for now, this is a great stand-in piece. It looks fantastic on display, and it is highly recommended for any MMPR fans. ZEO for the win. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you check out my Power Rangers throwback playlist. And until next time, for myself and the rest of the Collectables household, goodbye.